Right.
5, 4, 3, 2. We go. She just.
Yep.
All right. Good evening, podcast world and Facebook land. Welcome to another episode of Things My Mother Never Told Me. We have with us another special guest today. Tanya is going to do as she usually does and read the bio, and then we're going to get into the questions. And don't let the Christmas sweaters throw you off.
I know this just it's December, and like you said, I love red. It inspires me.
All right. So here we go.
All right. Hello, our listeners. We have, like you said, another special guest. His name is Mr. Jared Johnson. He was born in Port Huron, Michigan. Is a business professional that has thrived in the cybersecurity, information assurance, and intelligence sectors in the Metro DC area, obtaining several professional certificates. Mr. Johnson obtained a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology and a Master of Science in Administration from Central Michigan University. He is also a national intelligence. He is also a licensed real estate agent within the state of Maryland and an active real estate investor, both residential and commercial. Mr. Johnson is also the owner of Fun Kidzz, an indoor children's playground located in the Metro Baltimore, Maryland area. Wow, that is very interesting. I like that.
Right. So so how you doing again?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you for having me on, and don't let the bio fool you. I'm a regular guy.
Well, we thank you for agreeing to come on. Yeah.
We sure do.
And so we're gonna jump right in here and just a couple questions. So you were born in Port Huron.
Yes, PH, Port Huron, the thumb, indeed. And yep. I don't try to say I was, as some people try, say I was born in Detroit because I know that's an hour difference. No,
right.
Port Huron, kind of in the sticks compared to Detroit.
Right. Yeah, you right next to Sarnia.
Yeah, right across the bridge. We could see Sarnia from my grandmother's house.
Okay.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, I only been to Port Huron a couple of times. And so you went to public school in Port Huron?
Yep. Port Huron High School, and also one of the reasons why we were up in Port Huron. My great grandfather came from Alabama,
okay.
And when he came up to Port Huron and kind of got settled, he called for a lot of the other, Black professionals down in Alabama, medical lawyers and all whatnot, to come up to Port Huron and help get settled. Because if it got a little too crazy in the U.S., well, you only toss them away. You get up out of here.
That's right. You can literally run over to Canada.
Right. You go life raft.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So then you went to Central Michigan.
Indeed. Fire up chips. Indeed. I wanted to go to University of Michigan at the time when Lloyd Carr was there, but during that time it was real competitive at that time, and I suffered a couple injuries. But I still wanted to pursue that IT degree because the sports was fun, it was a hobby, and it really was the plan B. So it really let my IT career thrive because they had a very distinctive IT program that I really wanted to pursue. So Central it was.
Right. So you played football in high school. All right.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I played
about 70, 80 pounds ago.
Yeah, I played for a minute till I got a semi injury that scared me half to death, and I said, "Hey, let that go." All right. So now let's just jump into some of the meat of this thing. So cybersecurity.
Yes.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Indeed.
So what drove you in that direction, and then tell us about your.
That's a great question. Around the time I was getting ready to come out of my IT program under my undergraduate degree, I noticed that there was a lot of outsourcing going on, especially in IT, in India and just, off in the Eastern hemisphere. And then I noticed that, I may want to just get into something else because my industry may not be secured.
Right.
But then I was informed by some colleagues that said, there's another type of IT. And I said, please inform me. They said, well, there's an IT where you're working with the government. And I said, well, so what's the difference? Well, the government is not going to outsource that to another foreign country because it's about, do we trust you?
Right.
And that fascinated me. And I actually used to play a video game called Splinter Cell. This is in freshman year of college.
Okay.
And they kept on giving me this agency I keep working with. And I said, why don't they give me something real? They keep giving me something called the NSA. Why don't they give me something real like the CIA?
Right.
And then I came out and I was visiting and driving the car with my cousin, and I saw the same building from the video game, and it tripped me out. I'm a junior in college. And next thing I know, I said, what is that? They said, oh, that's NSA. And I said, it's real? Blew my mind. And by that time I was working with NASA, but I made it my focus to end up there. And that's what I did.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and right. And I see that, because I actually worked in IT for the government.
Okay, yeah.
I was at the IRS and I was in IT area. I thought about venturing in cybersecurity, but I was getting too close to retirement. So, so you worked for the Department of Homeland Security, of course. FEMA.
Yep.
National Intelligence.
Yep.
FBI.
Yep.
Treasury Department.
Yep.
NASA.
Yep.
What was all that like? Can you even talk about it?
Well, I also was at IRS because IRS is another derivative of the Treasury Department.
Right.
But I would say it's fascinating. So I spent a lot of my childhood in the Maryland area. So I still have some roots here, and I still have some roots in Michigan, Detroit, Pontiac. And so when I came back out here, I just really connected with a few other professionals in the area. And one thing led to another. I was never told about a clearance. So I was told that pursue a clearance, and it was kind of the chicken and the egg scenario. It was hard to get one. But once you have one, it makes it easier for you to traverse into different opportunities within the federal government, either civilian or contractor. Now, I started out as a civilian at NASA. They had a co-op program. I was able to work and go to school because I found out that Central Michigan had a graduate program located out here.
Right.
I was listening to the radio station. I'm like, why am I out here in Maryland hearing Central Michigan commercials on the radio? Lo and behold, there was a handful of academic institutions inside the Pentagon.
Okay.
So I was working at Verizon at the time. I was selling cell phones. This before the iPhone came out. I could tell you about all that experience. But I turned around and I said, well, yeah, I think I'm gonna pursue this. So at night I would go inside the Pentagon while all the military professionals were headed out. And I slowly, within 2 years, obtained my master's degree. And that really opened some doors because I started meeting other professionals that were of the same persuasion, and they just kind of helped, coached and guided me. I'm 22, 23, 24.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of questions. Seems like the world is my oyster, and I always had a why not mentality. Why not ask? What can it hurt? You're already inside the Pentagon. What can it hurt to ask questions to get guidance from those whom are willing to mentor you? And I think that's something, and if I sidebar just for a moment, that I think we could do a little bit better job of is reaching out for mentors. Because it's not a competition when someone's willing and able to give you insight and guidance for free.
Right. Well, we've had a couple guests that I think 2 or 3 of the last few guests, 3 of them, or the last 4 guests, all talked about mentorship and how much it benefited them in their careers. And so yeah, that's a point that I like it when our guests talk about that, because especially for us, because I mean, there are some African Americans who get mentored, but there are a whole lot of other ones who don't do it, scared to do it, and some that just don't want to take time to do it to help folks. So that's good. And so you
was bold. You got on out there. You was like, hey,
I was already, when I moved out here, I was literally stayed on the floor for a year. I slept on the rock hard floor for an entire year because I made that commitment. Once I got my degree from Central Michigan, I went to my grandmother's house in Port Huron, and by the 3rd day, I got too itchy. I said, you know what? I can't let time pass. I threw everything in my Dodge Intrepid at the time and drove all the way over here and never look back. Wow. And when I'm saying never look back, it's not just saying geographical location. It just knew that I was ready to pursue my career now that they gave me my tickets, if you will.
Right.
You know, and that really was beneficial, because then for the people that were reaching out, I was able to help and guide them. I would help them rework their resumes and let them, just get some additional insight, because hey, I know someone that's willing to help. So it really was great. It was really.
Right. So you drove into Maryland with just the few clothes on your back, didn't have a job or nothing, huh?
And the rims on my car.
And so you didn't have a position lined up when you went there?
No, I did not have a position. We had a lot of recruiters from certain companies, but they were mostly based in the Midwest. And, I was ready for just a change of scenery for a moment. It had been about 11 years and I still, like I said, I had family. At the time when my father was living, he was out here too. Okay. So it was just a yearning to get back and connect with, other folks. But from that point, I literally looked for a job for about 2 months. Okay. And one finally came through, and that was the Verizon opportunity. But 6 months at Verizon, and I found out that there was a master's degree program from my own institution. That was very encouraging, and I went in that direction.
Yeah. And it's another thing that's good, that it shows that a lot of times we're scared to step out and take that leap of faith, because to just pack your stuff up in your car and move out somewhere with no job promised, that's a leap of faith. And I mention that because it shows folks that if you're willing to take a chance on yourself, more often than not, you're going to win.
Correct. You have to take a chance on yourself, and not only are you taking a chance, but you have to invest in yourself even before the chance.
Yeah.
So right now, you may be thinking about, hey, I might want to do something in a couple of years. Well, right now is the time to invest in yourself. And this is not always talking financially. Sometimes taking time out to pursue relationships, networks, information, and positioning yourself really helps the chances of success when you do take that ultimate chance.
Ooh, right. This is really helping yourself.
Yeah. So I'll tell a lot of people, hey, the reason why, I had a beneficial 2020 is because I had a arduous 2019.
Okay.
So just because one particular year is a little bit rough does not mean that you don't come out with learning experiences that position you to look out for certain things as you move on to your next phase.
Yeah. See, now you talk. I actually was thinking about that this morning, because I'm doing something at church on New Year's Eve, and you remember when 2020 was coming, everybody started saying, "Ooh, 2020, clear vision. I got 2020 vision." And then when it hit with COVID,
right,
everybody kind of quit saying that.
Yeah.
But actually, what COVID did, and I think a lot of people had a rough year, was give us a chance to see clearly what we need to be doing, and take a look into ourselves and see, are we maximizing what we have.
Right.
And so now, then, like you just said, so now 2021 should be a year of expansion for just about everybody.
Exactly. And if I also use that same figurative speech, I would say it's one thing to go and set up a website and sell goods, but you have to take the time to do the internal inventory about what you have to sell.
Yeah.
So now when you go forth and present to people, you've already done stock, you've already looked in yourself, you've already looked at exactly what is required to bring forth what you have to manifest. With that skill, that advice, that knowledge, whatever it is, this has definitely been a season for people to really look at themselves to say, what can I retrain? What can I do better? And what am I doing good already?
Right.
And so, just the way that I think, I'm just talking out loud.
No, that is very beneficial to our listeners, because like you say, we have a daughter that's an entrepreneur and trying to get a little business off the, we got a bunch of the little millennials in our family that's starting their own businesses. And like you said, this is a time for them to reflect and see where they're going wrong and see where they're headed.
Right. And I'm glad you brought that up, because one thing that I really was thinking about was that this generation, present day, there are certain advantages that they have built in. Yeah. For case in point, when I was working my very first job out of college, I had to go on MapQuest, type in the address, print out the directions, and read the paper to get from A to B to my first job. Within a year and a half later, GPS was just a big deal. Those separate GPS devices. Now it's all on everyone's phones. And now the amount of content on YouTube has exploded.
Yeah.
So you could really have a lot of knowledge and information at your fingertips.
Ooh.
Versus having to always use the library, which that's still beneficial. You know, you just had to. I would say you had to prepare a lot more to make that trip to the library. Find what you're looking for, get the book, check it out. It was a much more arduous process versus what it is today.
Ooh.
Well, you talking about MapQuest. See, in our day, when we start our first job, you had none of that. You had to ask somebody, did they know where the place was? And hopefully they told you right.
Right.
And then we got
catch a cab, do something.
Right. Then we got fancy in AAA where you call them and they prepare a triptych for your little map. So you didn't have a co-pilot to read the map. So
right.
Yeah. It's much.
Will you stop it?
Well, I'm just saying, it's much easier now for them to. I mean, really, if you're active now, you don't have an excuse. You don't have an excuse because it's all at your fingertips. You pull your phone up to find anything that you're looking for.
Right.
You got to make sure it's the truth when you find it. But.
Exactly. And guess what? You even need to know what to look for in the first place.
Yes.
No one's going to break down to you lines of credit or Roth 401ks or mutual funds or, a business acquisition. You have to have the certain keywords to even know what to type in to find it.
Yes.
So that means you really still have to be intentional. It's not just going to be an accident.
I know.
Right.
Just like you said, your name is out there 50 million times, Jared Johnson.
Right.
So we got to know a little bit of stuff. That's
right. Got to know something about you and make sure we find you.
It's broad.
So you had a question before we transition away from your cybersecurity.
Well, my question was about mine was the nitty gritty. Did you know Chris Krabs, the one that got fired? Did you have any knowledge of him?
She talking about some Trump stuff.
Yeah.
I say this: the Treasury Department is next to the White House, but I kind of sidestep the whole because it's a whole situation over there.
Yes.
Every once in a while, I go in next door and I get out.
So you're still with Treasury, or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I actually help support their a lot of their cyber infrastructure, and I help them do assessments.
Okay.
So in order for them to understand, hey, our equipment, our hardware for various programs, are they up to par? Well, we do sometimes annual or every 3-year assessments to make sure that they're good to go and that they have to get, certain passing grades. So at least that way they can take inventory of what they need to fix.
Okay.
So, yep. But I don't go there every day. Traffic in DC. Oof.
Yeah, I know. One of my cousins lives there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. You don't know Jamisa Smith, do you?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, good.
Not the top of my head. I'm usually good with names and faces, but
right,
not
good,
the top
good.
of my head.
Yeah, she works with YBF.
Something like that.
YBF, online magazine. So
okay,
cool. So how is the atmosphere working with cybersecurity, especially inside the Treasury? Because I know it's a lot of craziness.
For us, it's been okay.
Okay.
Because part of the functions are performed remotely anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always helped. By the time I started doing anything remote, you want to be close to expert at your craft, because you want to spend your formative years on the job training, learning from the vets and those that have been around that know a thing or two, and let them pour all that knowledge into you. So by the time you do something remote, it's harder to kind of pull that expertise, that additional information and insight. Sometimes you still have to reach out to some colleagues, but it's just much more natural to do it when everyone's on site early in your career. I definitely tell people, I know in these times, we're looking for remote opportunities, but don't circumvent yourself in getting that experience, that know-how, and listening to how people converse.
Mm-hmm.
Some meetings, it's good to be in a meeting, especially I was told this early on. When you go into these meetings early on in your career, don't open your mouth if you don't have to.
Keep your mouth
Just
closed.
listen.
Yes.
And you are a sponge. You absorb so much information. So then you start realizing it is a big deal to be around certain people for potential information and how I guide myself.
Yeah.
I like how this person addressed this, or I like how this sister brought a very smooth approach on how to address this problem without getting the client upset.
Yeah.
I put that in my repertoire. And that's all it is. I've learned from a lot of us that have learned not only how to how can I say traverse through the workspace, but how to traverse through the workspace as a person of color.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
It's another level there.
You said a mouthful there.
Especially in the government.
Correct. And if you're a person of color in this workspace with your tickets punched or your degrees or whatever, and then now that you have to learn how to not over emphasize some of your accomplishments, that somehow you could be perceived as a threat too. It is a
yes.
Right.
Yes.
That was one of those things that, hey, my mother never taught me. And not to take anything away from you, and I love the title, and I get what you're getting at. This is not just saying, hey, my mother just didn't want to bring this up or tell us this. These are just certain things we didn't learn either at the household or at our K through 12 institutions.
Right. Exactly.
Because there's certain things that you have to go out and experience the world to learn. And then when you have that experience, then you pass on to someone else. Right. So I still learned several things, but some things, you have to get your own, scabs and scrapes.
Right. Yes, because our parents lived in a different time.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? A different, way different time.
Right. Well, look, I'm glad you segued. because that's the point. What you said. We talked earlier a couple of weeks ago, but that's the point. Is that there are things that our parents couldn't have possibly prepared us for. They just couldn't. And especially if you're of a certain age, younger folks, and I'm not sure how old you are exactly, but younger folks.
I'm 36. Ain't no shame. I'm 36.
Okay, 36.
84.
That's not bad. People in their 20s. You same age as my son. Actually.
Yes, same age.
But people in their 20s and they have a better opportunity for their parents to be more versed in modern society, if you will.
Right.
So they get a better chance to share things with them that my parents for sure couldn't share. And my parents they both passed away years ago. My mother died 35 years ago, right before we got married. And my father even before that. So the stuff that they couldn't have possibly prepared me for.
Right.
Yeah,
correct.
So you answered the question already. So we really ain't got an answer because you gave a great answer.
So I'll expound just a little bit and just say that this generation is completely different, again, because the past 20 years, the onset of Facebook, the onset of, all this GPS, the onset of YouTube and all these other platforms, they were game changers while I was in college. My freshman year was completely different from my sophomore year because of this advent of technology. And, some of these started off in college, with college accounts and whatnot, and then they expanded and went outward. But this whole time where now we can really reach a lot of people that are within our personal networks, and then we can have our business networks all in one place. Now LinkedIn's popping up, and your decorum on LinkedIn must be different than your decorum on Facebook.
Right,
things on the fly.
Right, yeah, without a doubt. And a lot of it you learn by what you said earlier. Keep your mouth shut and just listening and watching.
Right. Benefits you.
Yeah.
Because now you can lose something so easily and so destructively. That's the easy part. Building up takes time. Right. So you understand, hey, so your mouth, your tongue, or that one moment of emotion, you could tear down what you've been building for years.
I try to tell that to my sister all the time. Because she has a little bit of problem with that.
Takes patience. And I'm glad you brought that up, because now I don't want to try to hit on everything, but that's why it's good still to get some personal counseling.
Yes.
because there's certain things that we carry in our adulthood that sometimes we didn't rectify or help someone bring clarity on how this is affecting my present day behavior.
Exactly.
Because one thing you don't want to do is become successful with unsolved problems. Because if you could get that addressed early, then it just clears it removes the clouds that how can I say, you may not realize causes certain triggers that you have from unaddressed issues. So I'm a big advocate for success, for building your career, for education, but I'm a big advocate for mental health.
Yes. We have a lot of them athlete millionaires that blow money and I mean blow something, their career on something that
especially
could have been prevented.
Right. And think about it. They're literally overnight turning into CEOs. They have the same net worth, if not more, than certain CEOs. So sometimes it's a little disingenuous to think that they're all of a sudden going to become businessmen without the expertise, without the guidance, and without people looking to take advantage of them. And that's why your circle really matters. I need to change my circle once I get the money. No, you need to have an intentional circle around you while you're building.
That's right. So they can't say you done changed.
Right.
They're gonna throw that on you. You done changed. You can't hang out with us no more. No, I should have never been hanging out with you.
No, and guess what? The right ones will change with you. I do need to go ahead and focus on this or build that, because guess what? I love watching LeBron James, not just for what he does on the court, but what he does off. And he has built the same entourage with the same friends from before. And now he helped elevate them if they are willing to be elevated.
If they're willing.
That's right.
If they're willing.
And that's what it takes.
That's what it takes, a willing heart.
Yeah, we had that conversation with a friend of mine earlier today about how we find ourselves stuck in ruts that we don't want to get out of because we don't want to admit that we're in them.
Right.
So and on
mental health,
right, on that point about the stuff that holds us back, there's a book called The Dark Side of Leadership that I had to read during my minister's training, and it talks about how the dark stuff drives us to be successful, but once we get successful, it destroys us if we don't take care of it. And so we really need to take care of that mental side, because no matter how high you get, that stuff is going to come out.
It's gonna.
Right.
So I want to segue real quick to you are the owner of Fun Kidzz.
Yes.
Indoor children's playground. Let's talk about that. That sounds like some fun stuff.
I'm actually here right now.
Oh, okay. So what's the deal on that?
So it's an indoor kids playground in the Owings Mills area. And what we do, we actually, for kids like 1 to 8, they have like a little safe space where it's not kids too old in there, that are, how can I say, that can make it a little bit dangerous because they could be a little bit rougher.
Right.
And we pursued this business opportunity this past summer. So they were already in operation. They were doing well. Of course, like many other institutions, they ran into a COVID bump, But then we saw as an opportunity that it's great for us to pursue this because, number one, I have 3 kids. Well, I had 2 kids when we purchased, but I have 3 now, and we're always going to kids' playgrounds.
Right.
Why not make this part of the family business?
Yes.
So the kids think, hey, can I go play? And I'm saying, and we're thinking, well, we're going to work, or we have to take the kids. We're looking at the enterprise. They're looking at what they're benefiting from. It's just a playground,
right?
And it's been great. Definitely, like I said, we had to think on the fly with COVID, so we found a way to get forehead thermometers for kids and for adults, various hand sanitizing stations. We have defoggers that are medical grade. And we're actually offering them to other enterprises that, hey, if you did not want to invest money into this yourself, well, we're willing to team with you to help defog and help clean up your area just because we have the equipment on hand. We turned one of the party rooms into a social media platform. So we just a whole green screen set up, stage lights, photo booths. So now they could take a photo, and then we can turn around and make shirts and other materials, right? Right on the spot. Sublimation printers, vinyl cutters, heat presses. Boom, you have a shirt.
Yeah.
walking out the door.
There you go.
So we've had some awesome team members, my wife, Ebony, Bruce, I'm just naming them.
Yeah, give them a shout out.
Oh yeah, indeed. The Terry family, they've been absolutely awesome. And they've built up various other skill sets themselves, which is awesome because sometimes it's not just, hey, can I just come on site and spend some time? No, you're building skill sets.
Right.
So now they know how to operate everything I know how to operate.
There you go.
Right. And that skill goes with them. And of course,
yes, it does.
Throw them to whoever.
Right. See, that's what we got to get to, where we're not scared to teach folks what we know. Because we're not going to be here forever. I got a couple questions for you. Some of our listeners asked. One, the website, is that the funkidzz.com? Is that your site?
Yes, FUNKIDZZ, 2Z's.com.
Oh, okay, yeah, she has that. She wanted to make sure.
Indeed.
And then one of our listeners asked, do you do any interviewing preparation for young people?
Not at the moment. That's definitely one of my passions, is interface with young people. It seems that wherever I go, the young people gravitate to me. So I don't have it formally, but it's definitely in the informal, it's happening on a daily basis. From young men that are getting ready to go to the military. I've wrote the letters of recommendation and worked with them. Young people in relationships, I've helped them with various relationship problems and issues and kind of coach them up as to what sometimes we should expect, because managing expectations is a big part of relationships.
Right.
Especially in today's society, we think it's one thing versus, understanding what it really is about. When I met, my wife is from Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah. I moved her out here, I said, yep, hey, this is it. We got married in 2017.
Okay.
I was very intentional about passing on a lot of information that I had. And then she turned and passed on to, people that she knew. And you just got to let that knowledge proliferate. Okay. So sometimes it's in a formal setting, and many times it's informal. Kids, I know there's going to be a lot of kids around me at various, times. So I'm always willing to impart information or guidance or wisdom.
Right. Yeah. Because the person that asked the question, he said you would be powerful doing that, just listening to you talk. He said he believed you'd be powerful. He's and actually he's a Reverend Doctor.
Okay.
Craig Darrell Esther.
Well, praise God for those compliments, because there's definitely some times when I've had some rough spots, meaning I have been locked up.
Okay.
I have been visiting friends, and next thing you know, it's a drug rate that goes down. And, I have been in situations where I had to learn a lot of stuff about real life.
Yes.
And it's so I don't want people to get this misconstrued with, oh, you were just born into this. And it was, as the young people say, I got it out the mud too. There's definitely some hard work into this, but like I said, it's all about pursuing. Number one, if you if you follow the Lord, that's going to be great success anyways. Go to Joshua chapter 1. Yeah. You have to have some type of stable foundation.
Right.
And then we're so sometimes focused on success. And I'm thinking of me as a 22, 23, 24-year-old.
Right.
I really did. I put family on the back burner. And then now I could say, you know what? That's a catalyst to success.
Yes. Yes.
One of my brothers that I looked up to, he said, look, Jared, for the type of success you're looking for, you need to have a wife.
There you go.
My mind. But now I understand, because you need to have someone that could do all kinds of other things that you don't think about until you're in that situation. Extra phone calls, those extra checkups, the keeping me organized and keeping my mind straight, because I have to,
Yes.
This is on my mind, and I can't find my keys and all kinds of stuff. And then you have a reason for success that's not selfish.
Yes.
Because your success, yes, is great, but when it's achieved, who does it benefit? And that's what you always have to think of yourself, because you have to think that within yourself, because it will push you during the times when it's hard to get revved up. There's some tough times in on the job front, but it gives you something else to push through for.
Right.
For a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta
a stress reliever.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's gotta be bigger than you.
Right.
Because when you down, when you having them down moments, then it's real easy to quit if it's just about you.
Right.
It's real easy to make the wrong choice if it's just about you. So
right.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
In fact, that's why who you select or who you start parting and speaking to makes a big difference, because someone's going to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
When you start giving up on your dreams or things that you wanted to do, and they're going to say, well, hold up. Remember, you told me 3 hours, you broke down this whole vision and plan you had. I'm not going to let you give up on it like that.
Right.
In fact, I'm going to make some phone calls.
Yeah.
You need that too.
Yeah, that's right.
As men, we don't like to confide in people as far as emotionally.
Yeah.
We like to confide when it comes to our plans.
Yes. Yeah.
And someone solidifying, confirming, backing up, and uplifting our plans, for us, that's an emotional kick.
Yes.
That really helps us, because I'm trying to do this. You see, I'm a provider, I'm a protector. I like to do A, B, and C for my family, and you're holding me accountable to make sure I do that. And I needed that. I need that lifting, just like in the weight room.
Yeah.
We get tired of that.
You're doing a great job, honey. I know it's gonna work out.
There you go. I do 3 more.
That's
Come
right.
on, one.
That's right. Yeah, you gotta have that emotional spotter. I like that.
Right.
Brandis, put that in there. That's a good quote.
I'll make you a shirt out of it if you want.
There you go.
I love it, Jared. I love it.
So okay. So now I'm going to assume something. No, I'm not. I'm just going to ask you, because you're a licensed real estate agent.
Yes.
And so is that what played into you getting into Fun Kidzz?
Actually, it did. In fact, so I was thinking that I wanted to be a real estate investor anyways. I was trying to position myself intentionally. And I said, well, what better way is it than to actually go through that process? I didn't know if I really want to do transactional or day-to-day real estate, but I know that there's a mountain of information to learn. Yeah. So while I was taking those classes, twice a week at night, this is a little bit over a year ago, almost 2 years ago, my wife is holding down the home front, and she sees I'm coming with these books, these note cards and everything. So I'm constantly learning. And then when I passed the test, after failing 4 times, because just because you fail doesn't mean it's the end of the world.
That's right. That's right.
I kept at it, found out where my weak spot was, tightened that up, and then passed it. But that really helped position, because what I did is I started looking for real estate deals. First off, I was looking for rental properties. And then next thing you know, I started running into other real estate investors. Okay. Great group of guys. These real estate investors, they actually, who guess what, look like us. Yeah. Okay. They were holding a real estate meetup for people of our community. Okay. So we're constantly seeing our people come through, and there are some people in our community that are brilliant.
Yes.
I mean, blows me away. Appraisers in fact, one of the appraisers, brilliant. He came from Detroit to speak at this conference. Okay. But so in long story short, they really took a liking to me, and we really started partnering on some deals, flipping houses, gap funding deals, and they pretty much started taking me under their wing. Okay. And I just tried to help out in any way that I could, which also include the IT technical side, because someone needs to put the presentation together, make sure everything's connected, it sounds good. That's so right. The IT side benefited them.
That's right.
And then in turn, they introduced me to a business broker. Okay. This is what the game changers. This is one of the things that my mother had never told me. Right. I had never heard about.
Right.
But there's one guest speaker. He said that I have over 200 businesses for sale.
Wow.
That caught my ear. I'm like, hold up, businesses for sale. And then I had a conversation with him, and we kind of hit it off as far as thinking something may be able to work on the business front. And lo and behold, he had this institution that was for sale by way of one of his clients. Okay. And when COVID hit, the price was just right for us. And we said, you know what, let's go.
Yeah.
But if I didn't pursue the real estate side, this would not have fell in my lap.
Right.
Because I was intentional about who I'm pursuing information, people that have the information. And guess what? Plenty of the people that have the information look like me.
Good.
Wonderful.
And you know those saying, when preparation meets opportunity.
Right.
And generational wealth starts with me.
Yes.
Oh, there it is.
Right. So that's
Right.
right. So you get to working on that. And so you have your own independent real estate thing, or you partnership, or how you handling that?
Mostly partnerships.
Okay.
Because when you start pursuing sometimes these hard money lenders, you need to have all your ducks in a row before going into that realm.
Right.
And so what it is, we had a guy that's great with finding deals, another person that's great with finding liquidity or funds to help with these deals. And one guy that was great with the construction as far as making sure everything's on time, as far as all these schedules.
Right.
So I was really the real estate side for their machine.
Okay.
And so right now, like I said, we're currently hopefully closing within the next week on one deal, one inaugural deal. And let me add this. When we started, because when we came together in that meeting, there's a lot of people, but one thing that seemed that it stood out was I'm following them as they're heading in the conference room, and I'm following right behind them. They said, oh, sorry, brother, you just passed it. It's this room right here. We actually going over here to go pray.
Okay.
And I said, oh, I like to pray too.
That's right. That's right. What you trying to leave me out of that part?
I'm telling you.
So we could do the real stuff right here. I'll go in the room afterwards, but we could pray together.
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
Okay.
And they actually let me lead it. And from there, it's been
success.
Yeah.
When God is in it.
Right.
And it also goes to show that you got to be, again, back what we were saying earlier, you got to be willing to take a secondary role to learn what you need to learn, to get yourself in the room, like they said in Hamilton, be in the room where it happened.
Right.
And you ain't getting in that room with attitude.
That's it.
You got to be kind.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
Wow. I love that. So let's do another thing, because she was asking earlier. She said she didn't see it. What do you do? I mean, because you got a whole lot of stuff going on. So what do you do to wind down, have fun, and that kind of stuff?
So one thing that I do is because we just got our basement finished. I take my kids down there. Right now it's a lot of family time. I have a 3.5-year-old, a 1.5-year-old, and he'll be in a week 3 months.
Okay.
So family is huge, and
yes,
grow is huge. So usually I would go take them to the mall or whatnot, but now, in these instances, we're just spending a lot of family time at home, and they're hearing all the words and phrases and sentences that they're putting together. Right now, for me, that's fun. That's very fulfilling.
Yes.
Very. Before I would stay at the gym or I would, hang out with some buddies. We go on some vacations or whatnot. But right now, where my life is at this moment, I'm focused on building as well as getting family time, because that's the greatest treasure out there. I don't care.
It is. The Lord didn't create it for nothing.
Right. Exactly. Because in fact, the Lord said it's not good for man to be alone.
Yeah.
And he said that he was not just saying, I'm only going to give you this one woman. It means I'm going to give you someone equipped to that fill your whole household.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now you come to your whole house. I got people running up to my kneecaps and hugging me, saying, "Daddy, I love you."
I know. Isn't that a good feeling?
It's irreplaceable. It's irreplaceable.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my kids' names are Anaya, Micaiah, and Elijah.
Okay.
I wonder where them names came from.
Right.
Well, that's
beautiful. Wonderful.
And
you have blessed my soul on tonight.
Right. So you still working hard, still taking care of that family hard, and then so what are your plans for moving forward with what you're doing?
That's a good question. I'm keeping my ears open for opportunities that may appear in 2021, but right now we are in intense negotiations to purchase an IT company.
Okay.
It's going well. Obviously, it's a lot of, just like buying a house. It's a lot of paperwork, a lot of stuff you have to go through. But I'm circling back to the original passion, and obviously I can't disclose many details, but I will say that this company is owned, managed well by another person of our persuasion.
All right.
So I really want people to understand and know that we are making more moves than sometimes what's let on. It's not all the time publicized because they're so busy in the trenches.
Right. Right.
And we're also in pursuit of a hotel currently. Hopefully that we close before the end of this month. So that will be down in Georgia.
Okay.
But that hotel would be awesome because I didn't only understand about business valuation. Hey, this business is worth this much, but you have to, in many cases, include the real estate. Well, how much is the actual building worth?
Right.
Oh, the building's worth this much.
Yeah, I
So
know.
equity in said business includes not only the actual day-to-day operations or profits, but the actual value of the real estate as well.
Yes.
So
Location.
location.
Yes.
So I tell people to check out Shark Tank. That is actually a very informative.
Excellent show.
Right
I've been watching it since it came on.
Yes.
Man, me and my wife watch it all the time. You know, if my kids don't want cartoons, Shark.
I record it, so if I
He records it. That's right.
I still get to see it.
Because I'm just saying, and the things that they come up with, I'm just saying, like, it's just amazing.
Yeah,
right.
How something so simple can grow so big.
Right. Exactly. And then you're looking at the business acumen or the business mindset of the Sharks because they're turning around and telling you or showing a lot of their strategies. Yeah. When Kevin gets on, you know, he's getting ready to throw in a royalty.
That's right.
On top of it. That's you know, Dame is going to undercut. You know.
Yes.
It's art. It is art watching.
It is finesse. I'll tell you. I'm telling you.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. So I think that, you know, that's really proved to be a key point as to why learning financial literacy is such a big deal.
I know.
Because financial literacy is not just about, well, how do I, you know, let's say avoid debt, but how do I benefit from debt? Yes. Not necessarily my own, but understanding how to structure deals from that side, because they have to know that side as well.
Yes.
They have to know it as well.
All right.
I was just telling him I had a conversation with my nephew about finance and credit scores and all this. You can't be putting your head in the sand. You have to deal with this stuff now. Because your future, and he is under 30, so this will sink in. I'm working with him.
Right. But that's the key, because you really got to dig in, and when you realize when it comes to your attention that something's wrong, that's when you need to start trying to fix it.
Right.
If you kick the can down the road, it's probably going to be worse, and you still got to deal with it.
Right.
Yeah, so cool.
I wish someone would tell the U.S. government that sometimes.
They tell them, but they just don't want to hear it. They too busy trying to appease they main block of constituents.
Right.
I'll leave it right there.
Yes, please. Let's please.
They played a big role in me retiring when I did. Not trying to be around for any more of that madness, but but that's cool. So we gonna you got any more questions for me?
Not really. He's been great.
Right. He don't leave much room for questions because he just gets it in there. So I'll ask you, is there something else that you want to share with the people that you haven't shared already, or something you want to emphasize?
Yeah. I actually have a list. Hopefully it's a chronological list of things that they could, when they go back and rewatch this, they could say, I'm gonna write this down and I'll go look this up myself.
Yes.
So I've tried to create a roadmap to help people say, okay, I want to go in the right direction. What are some of the building blocks and in which order? Not doesn't have to be this order, but this order is somewhat ideal for me to move forward in my journey. Everyone's journey is different, and don't try to mimic everyone's journey. It's still your own journey. You're your own person. It's your own life. But this is hopefully some building blocks that helps. So financial literacy, which we touched on, which obviously is going to go right into understanding credit and understanding how your positioning there benefits you in the long run.
Right.
Then I was instructed by a former CEO during my high school years up in Port Huron. His name was Chris Kurzweil, a former CEO of American Tape, sold it to for a bunch of money, and he's living his life.
Right.
But he's the one that taught me at the age of 18 about mutual funds and understanding residual growth over time.
Yeah.
And that first time I heard that concept. So look up mutual funds and how you could position yourself. Then you still want to look at home ownership, because home ownership, to do the business deals, you're able to leverage yourself or have some collateral by having both a house and helping to build equity within it. So you want to look at different ways of pursuing home ownership. Then something I had learned about when I bought my last home was lines of credit.
Yes.
There's home lines of credit, business lines of credit, personal lines of credit. Well, what is a line of credit? Well, it's different from a loan. You get a loan for, let's say, $10,000, and then you pay that up, and then it's done.
Right.
A line of credit is, well, you could pay it, and then you could say, well, I'm gonna use another $5,000, and you're only charged off of what you use. So learn about lines of credit. They're powerful, but make sure that you're somewhat disciplined by the time you start dealing.
Yes.
You have to be disciplined.
Gotta be
Definitely. Yeah.
And once you have the home and your line of credit and mutual funds building, you must have your foundation, which is your family.
Yeah.
You must be intentional on building a legacy. This is we are here for a reason.
Yes. Yes.
And your reason in many cases doesn't come from your pockets, but comes from your mouth.
Yes.
All right.
So use that, train it, build it, share it. Then I tell people to go ahead and pursue an enterprise. Sometimes it's what your skill set already is, or if you want to build a skill set, but you want to pursue something that has access to the market. In other words, it's one thing to be smart. It's another thing to have access to the actual business market where you can, supply and feed yourself and build an enterprise, something to pass down.
Yeah.
And then when you do that, you must have a CPA, an accountant, someone that helps you with your taxes, not only just doing it once a year, but does what's called tax planning. And they will inform you on how to position yourself, your business, your enterprise, whatever it is that you're pursuing. They're going to tell you how to do it in a more strategic way that's legal. We stay in legal, but they're helping walk you through that road. So you definitely pursue a CPA. Then learn about something called seller financing. Well, Jared, what is seller financing? Well, if you want to buy a particular house and sometimes you get financing or a loan from the bank, but sometimes the seller will say, you could just make payments to me. So that eliminates, in many cases, you having to come up with this large lump sum.
Right.
So it's another creative way of pursuing deals, because that's not just with property, that's with businesses.
Yeah.
This business has a significant portion of it in seller financing, which reduces the amount of capital you have to bring to the table.
Right.
And they say work smart, not hard.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Message.
Hey, you giving them a lot of food for thought, I'm telling you.
I want them to write this down. And then understand how important your circle is. I tell people, look up the PayPal Mafia. The PayPal Mafia, right. Everyone's talking about Elon Musk from Tesla, but you have to go back and understand the original grouping. Hey, they started as a small cadre of individuals, and then they slowly but surely moved on from PayPal after they sold that enterprise and turned around and built their own institutions, and they let their own friends help be the initial investors with those institutions as well.
All right.
So sometimes you can't be an initial investor for the next new Facebook because that person may have already said that I already have a set list of people that I'm giving first dibs to or first opportunity to invest.
Yep.
And with all this, I definitely tell people to take advantage of YouTube. I cannot state that enough.
Love it.
Yeah.
In many cases, you have 8 hours a day to work.
Yeah.
So if you're able to get a headphone, an AirPod, or something in your ear, every day say, I'm going to learn something.
Something.
Right, University of YouTube.
That's it.
He
That-
tell me all the time because I'm constantly on there learning how to. If it ain't number cooking cornbread, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Because the content is there, the content creators
It's there.
and I am currently a student of YouTube University.
Yes.
Me too. Me too.
Yes.
Still learning. So many of these things I've talked about, I've learned from YouTube.
Yeah, there you go.
Me too.
So I'm not just bringing up something, that, he probably had the right connect. No, I spoke to people with these questions because I did some of the initial research first, and they help confirm or deny what I think I'm seeing. Not just because it's on there doesn't mean everything's true, but you need to have some people to kind of, weigh this against.
Yes. Yes.
How much stock should I put into this or that? And they'll let you know.
I know.
Exactly.
Indeed.
Wow.
And with that being said, just gotta give honor to the creator at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day, and at the end.
And at the end, yeah.
Something to get, that gets you through the ups and the downs.
Yeah.
You're human, and we need guidance still. And hey, he put his guidance in the book for us. I can read it.
And we forget, so we gotta keep at it.
Right.
Gotta keep at it.
In the temple that they had in Jerusalem, they always had to keep oil in those lamps.
Yeah.
That's letting you know we're supposed to constantly have some of that oil, some of that guidance, that counseling, because he's the ultimate counselor.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
That
Say
gives
it.
Right. Yeah. But
Ooh, now I see why you're so successful.
Right. And we got to remember that. And we got to remember that we didn't get here by ourselves, and we can't move on by ourselves. We got to always give honor to those who honor deserve, and keep trying to get better.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I like
He and I, we were talking the other day about how many people are just baking now, but everybody still do it different. The way you do it makes you successful, and the way you do it make you successful.
Right. I will say this: there have been more independent bakers that have sprung up during this pandemic than almost anything else.
Yeah.
Everybody bake, because if you do it good, then you might as well share it with the world.
That's it.
If you can make a couple of dollars along the way, all right.
Monetize. Why not?
Yeah.
Right. All right.
Get on Shark Tank.
Right.
Because if they take it, because they gonna make some money off it too.
That's it. It's gonna be in QVC in no time.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I enjoyed you, Jared.
You gonna make money.
Appreciate it.
We thank you for coming and sharing with us. You gave the folks a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah,
you
enriched them for real.
If they're willing to use it. But you gave them a lot of stuff, and we look for good things, big things for you in the future. And keep that family first. Keep God first, and then that family right behind him.
Indeed. Speaking of family, I have to give a shout out to my cousin Joni out there in Detroit.
Yes.
Love you, Joni, Cedric, the family. Love y'all.
Oh, me too. Me
Go ahead and
too.
give her a shout, because Joni brought us a couple real good guests.
Yes, she has.
We got a couple more in the works, and so we appreciate her each and every day for what she did for us.
Yeah, she understands our mission.
Right.
Yeah, I got to work something out for her.
Indeed.
maybe I'll give her a T-shirt.
Right.
Whatever.
All right.
Know a guy.
Exactly. So you take care. We appreciate you. Keep doing that good work. Keep helping folks.
Yeah, I'm gonna see your name up there.
Hey, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because I know life in the government ain't forever.
That's true.
All right. So Jared, you take care. We appreciate you.
You too. Love y'all.
Love you too.
All right, and look forward to it.
Peace.